One. What's going on, everybody? We are now live for our weekly Facts and Snacks episode. I haven't talked to you guys in a few weeks, right? Well, I came on live to talk about the course, but as far as having an awesome guest speaker on, we haven't had one since probably like early January, which is okay. So as you guys know, our course launched on February the 1st. So the Small Business Owner's Guide to Hiring a Virtual Assistant. And so far, we've gotten some really, really positive and great reviews about it. It's a really, really great tool. So if you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, and you're looking to expand your team and you're looking for a go-to solution to it, that's what this course is designed for. It's basically designed to eliminate the headache of bringing on a virtual member to your team. Is literally a done for you guide. So if you haven't watched, the lives I've done probably over the past 2 weeks, or even the webinar that I hosted, you are truly missing out. So we do have a few more seats left in the course, and I would love for you guys to come on board and join in with that. So if you're interested, just leave a comment or shoot us a message. If you're watching this on replay, make sure that you guys always put hashtag replay with your questions, comments, or concerns. We love to talk, right, about, what our guest speaker is talking about and all of that good stuff. Also hosting a webinar, how outsourcing can lead to investing in your company. That's later this month. So it's February. We're actually having two. So we're having one on February 21st and one on February 23rd, and that's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you haven't registered for that, it's in check the events section out here on the page and go check that out. It's really great if you have never outsourced before and you're wanting to know more about it, or if you're trying to take your company to the next level. You need to outsource because we all know that entrepreneurs wear 50 gazillion hats, and eventually you're going to drop the ball on something, right? Not saying you can't grow by yourself, but the line draws somewhere. You can't do social media and be the face of the company and business development and focus on client work and all these things, all these moving parts that are going on. It's just we're only human. You don't have to do that. You don't make it easier on yourself, right? Continue to be the creative visionary and the leader of your business like you should be. So if you have questions about outsourcing or you want to learn more, go ahead and register for that. So that's all the announcements I have for today. Today we have our super, super special guest. I'm excited. We have Mia Francis-Poulin. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yep.
And basically she helps female entrepreneurs refine their business positioning and helping them attract, the customers and all of this great stuff. So Mia, thank you so much for coming on with us. Tell us more about what you do, right? So I went to your website, took a peek. It's really great information, but share with our audience.
Yes. Well, first, thank you again for having me on the show. I'm super excited to be here. And so like you said, my name is Mia Francis-Poulin, and I own RNA Creative Company. And basically, I help female entrepreneurs to refine their branding and to also craft go-to-market strategies that attract their ideal clients and help them achieve their audacious goals. And part of the way that I help them do that is particularly through launching new products and services, especially digital products. So courses, ebooks, webinars, I help them come up with the strategies and the plans in order to hit their income goals for those products and to attract the clients that they want to work with. So, yeah.
That is pretty cool. That's neat. So all of you ladies that are on, if this is something that spikes your interest, make sure that you're asking questions. And of course, at the end, Mia will leave her information. But so tell us more about what what business repositioning actually is, right? Some people may not know. And then how business owners can attract the right, customers through go-to-market strategies.
So one of the things that happens a lot of times, especially when you have online businesses, is that we get the idea and then we just go, right? But we don't necessarily give a whole lot of thought to what is my overall brand messaging? How will I appear to people who come across my website or come across my social media platforms? And am I appearing consistent in all the places that I decide to show up? So part of what I do when I work with brands is that I help them come up with that cohesive message so that regardless of where they show up, if it's on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, their website, doing something like this or going on a podcast, their message is cohesive across all of those touch points. And so your customers are never confused about what it is that you do, who you do it for, and why you do it. Because one of the things that we know about buyer psychology is that buyers don't like to be confused, right? If they're confused, if they have to think too hard, that's burning calories. If they're burning calories, it's an evolutionary thing, right? If you're burning calories, you don't have enough energy to go fight off a saber-toothed tiger if they decide to pounce on you, right? So that's why we protect ourselves by not having to decode and uncode and think all through, different messaging and things like that may pop up when someone encounters your brand. And so I help them when they're going from just starting out to now they've gotten some biz success and they need to really make that cohesive message. I help them craft out that whole entire strategy and that whole entire presentation. So that's part of the ways that I work with my customers. And the other thing, how can they attract their ideal customers? So that's really, that's a big question, right? Because we all want to have lots of customers and we want them to be customers that we like working with, right? But part of the issue is that I see a lot of companies do is that they don't spend enough time really listening in and actually writing out the attributes that your ideal customer has. And so they may have thoughts of, oh, I want to work with women or I want to work with small businesses. And that's all really great. But you really want to know fundamentally what's the problems that your ideal customers or the people you want to work with, what problems are they facing? Like be very specific about it. And then think through how does your product or service, what you do, how does it solve those problems? And all of your messaging that you craft should come from that place of being a solutions-focused business. And even if you have a product or a service, if you're crafting all of your messaging and crafting your offers around that type of ideal, then you'll be able to talk the language of your customers, of your ideal customers, and you'll be able to really pinpoint who it is that you want to work with, and you'll make those connections easier. So.
That is some good stuff. I'm taking pieces out of that for my own business.
Yes.
That is some good info. Wow. I mean, you really dug deep with that. Some of those aspects, I've never really thought about it that way. So that's really interesting. So with that, tell us about launching smarter, or what a smart launch. Tell us kind of what that looks like, right? Kind of a brief overview.
So you've just launched something, and I know so many other people, right, who you go through a launch, you're excited, you're invigorated, you're energized, and then you're just kind of like exhausted, like somewhere towards the middle/end of it. And it's because launching in itself is exhausting, right? And it's even more exhausting when people do what I call spaghetti noodling your business, where you're throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, right? And there's nothing wrong with going and being full out and pushing stuff out there and seeing how it works. But when you want to launch smarter, when you want to avoid that absolute top to bottom exhaustion, you have to have a plan and be very strategic about it. So part of the things that I work with my customers through and my clients through is I help them determine first, do you need a pre-launch plan? So some ways to know if you need a pre-launch plan is are your audience members, the people that are captive to you, are they warm to even hearing from you? Like, have they been sitting stagnant for a while? Are they used to you selling things to them? Or is this going to be a new experience for them? If maybe you've been putting out consistent content that's helpful, but maybe they're not used to you doing that ask, right? So we kind of need to come up with a plan to do those micro asks, those micro conversions before we lead up to the big one, right? Another thing that we think through is, okay, look at your goals. How many do you want to sell? Are the number of units that you want to sell, does it come in line with what average conversion rates are, right? So a lot of people are really surprised when they learn that the average conversion rate is about 2% across industries, right? So of your audience, you're going to convert 2% of them if they're engaged with you, right? And so that's shocking to a lot of people. But if as part of your pre-launch plan, we need to grow your net, we need to grow your audience in order to get you to that number that you want to reach, we need to plan for that as well. So there are a couple of things that you need to think about when you're launching, and then the timing of it, right? And so the other thing that I work with my customers with and my clients with is I help them look through 5 core areas to determine, to craft out the whole of their launch. Okay, so we're refining their offer. That's point number 1. Part number 2 that we're looking at is the message. Part number 3, we're going to look at the platforms that you're going to be active on. Number 4 is the journey. So what journey will your customer take from their entry to you all the way through how they'll go and buy the thing that you're going to offer. And then point number 5 is the tech, because the tech is important, right? You need to know what platforms and other resources you may need. And so when I say your offer, so what is it that you want to sell? If you can't sell that, do you have other products that you want to sell with it? And how many do you need to sell? Okay, so that's where we plan out for that. And then the other things, so the message, right? Who are you speaking to? What are their worries? What are they feeling right now? And how can your product in this particular launch, how can it service this customer in ways that your competitors can't? So that's another question that a lot of people don't ask, but we think about. Mm-hmm. The thing is that you want to make them the hero of it, and you want to speak to the customer avatar, which that's part of that pre-planning. If you don't have that all built out, if you don't know your buyer personas, who it is exactly that you're reaching, we kind of craft that out as well. And then the platforms. Okay, so this is the part, and I'll take a minute here. So the platform, people get really caught up in having to be everywhere all the time, right? Have you been familiar with that? You feel that pull, like you feel that pull, like if I'm not on Pinterest and LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and I'm doing, podcast interviews, you're gonna miss out on some customer that's like on those places, right? Well, here's the thing. All the customers that you can service, that you would need to service, if you know your ideal customer and you go to the place where they are, so say your ideal customers are on Facebook, then be on Facebook. You don't necessarily, you're not going to.
You touched on a good point. Let me interrupt you real quick. Guys, what she's saying is so true, because for me, Facebook is my hub, right? 90%, probably 85% have come from Facebook, and the other maybe 10 or 15 referrals. But I like to make sure that I have a presence, at least on Instagram and LinkedIn. So I'm not heavy on there, right? Yeah. I probably have gotten a few clients over time. But if you are strong on Instagram, you need to be on Instagram, right? Mm-hmm. Map out a strategy and make it work. And I'm pretty sure this is where she's about to go into. But I just wanted to throw that in there because that's very true. And I've seen how it can work and how it can be successful because I've done it myself.
Yes. The question I always ask is, what is the fastest, most efficient, and most direct way for you to reach your audience? So just like you said, if Instagram is where you are killing it and your audience is there and you can make that strategy work on Instagram, be on Instagram, be on it 100%. But don't exhaust yourself, spreading yourself thin on places where maybe you have to learn how to even interact on the platform with your audience, or, you're not, it's not a native place where people would expect to see you, and like I'm from Louisiana, we call it, with all the extras, we call it lagniappe, right? Like it's all that extra stuff is lagniappe. Like it's good to have, sure, if you're building out a big old robust marketing strategy, but if you're trying to launch smarter, if you're trying to have a simple launch that gets you where you want to go, pick the place where you're killing the game and your audience is. That's where you need to be. Okay, so. And then the other thing that a lot of people, they miss out on is that you have this one offer, right? But you won't necessarily only have just this one, right? Theoretically, you will have other things that you can offer people. So think through the journey. That's the 4th point, right? Is that think through how will this customer, with the assumption that you are going to retain them as a customer in future, for future products or future services. If they bought from you once, they probably will buy from you again, right? Think through how they will go through this journey. Think through, are they coming to you from a lead magnet, from a free webinar, or did they get a free ebook from you? And then map through how they will go from that ebook, that webinar, whatever that freebie is, or however they hear about you, how they'll map through to get to buying your service, okay? And then the last thing, the tech. the tech confounds so many of us, right? Like thinking through, okay, if I need to put on a webinar, how do I host that webinar? How do I get it to people? And the point is just to be streamlined. There are so many platforms nowadays that can do what it is that you need to do. It's just a matter of finding those platforms and then being really strategic about how many that you will invest your time in learning. Okay, because if it's going to take you longer to learn the platforms, like say for instance, you wanted to set up a course and it's going to take you longer to learn Kajabi, which is a platform that you can have your whole website, your course and all of it, than it would be for you to put it up on Teachable and have it be done and ready and actually start making you money. Like pick the thing that's going to actually make you money and get it up and get it done. And then focus on, all right, what's version 2? How can we make it better? Building from there. So that's the way that I work with my clients and help them walk through very strategically, like step by step. This is how we're going to launch this new thing for you. And then it's just a matter of execution. So just going forward and doing it. So
yes, execution is the key. This is really great, guys. Some of you are hopping on and off. If you have questions, while you're on, please ask, because Mia is a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience with especially with the launch. There's a lot of business owners or aspiring that at some point you're going to launch something. Something's going to transpire. Yes. So please ask. I know we've had like people come on and off. Throw that in there. So that's great. So I have another question too. So I know we were talking, well, we didn't really touch on this, but vetting your business idea. You and I were talking about this before we got on. So I wanted you to share a little bit more about, especially all of you guys that are still working a 9-to-5. You may have already started your business or you're wanting to start a business and you just have it, right? But you're just looking for the next steps on how to actually implement and execute. And you have all of these unanswered questions in gray areas. So Mia, can you explain a little bit more about, vetting your business idea when you're trying to go from a 9-to-5 to, running your ship full time?
Yes, I surely can. And before I get into the specifics on that, I just wanted to share a little bit about my leap into full-time entrepreneurship, because I actually had probably about a year-long run-up where I had started my business in 2017, and I had it running kind of tangentially with my 9-to-5. It was my side hustle, right? And then suddenly I made that leap, and so part of that decision to make that leap from my 9-to-5, it was something that I knew was coming really quickly. I'm a mom of 2, and one of my sons, my eldest, actually has special needs. He was a micro preemie, and he also is diagnosed with autism. And so I knew very, very quickly, probably in 2017, that I was going to have to make the decision to do something different. That the traditional 9-to-5, which actually was more like 10 to 7 in my situation, it wasn't going to work out. Wasn't working out for me any longer, and I wasn't able to show up as I wanted to show up in my business while also being there and being present for both of my boys. And so, because of that, the first thing that I did is the first thing that I encourage people to do when they ask me, how did I make that leap and have a successful business once I exited my 9-to-5? And the first thing is you need to do the practical and the personal assessment first, right? And one of the things that I heard on a podcast I was listening to, I don't even remember which one, but it was this concept of how much runway do you have? And so, yes, you have to look at those practical things like what's going to happen to your retirement, how much savings do you need, or can you use your 9-to-5 on the side to fund your business aspirations? Which that's a smart thing to do. There's no shame in doing that, and using the money that you get from your employer to be a financier in your business, right? But you have to look at all those things. What does it mean for taxes as a self-employed person? So you look at those things. I looked at that. And then the other thing that I looked at was the market. How can I market my business? How can I grow? Okay. And that breaks down to one real simple kind of thought, right? Knowing what you do, who you do it for, and why you do it. Okay. For me, my why was really simple, it was really clear. I wanted to be more present for my children. I wanted to be able to design my day so that I could have the life that I needed to be present for my sons, and also to take my eldest to therapy, to take him to the special doctors that he has to go to. And it was exhausting in my 9 to 5, even as flexible as they were at times, to have to use all of my vacation time just for doctor's appointments, and even though I had FMLA, at a certain point, it felt like I was never at work. I was just taking FMLA back to back because my sons needed me. Both of them, had stuff going on. Right. And so knowing what I did, who I did it for, and why I did it, and really honing in and holding on to the why, because entrepreneurship, it's a lonely road sometimes. It's tough at times. It has lots of ups, but sometimes sometimes you take an L. So sometimes it's not always peaches and roses. And so holding on to that why and getting really clear on what I did and who I did it for, that was the other thing. And then the third thing that I did, and this I think was the crucial thing that led me to having a successful business now that I'm in my business full time and it's sustaining me, is the mental and the mindset portion, right? And I don't know about you. Have you heard mindset was like the buzzword of 2019 and 2018, right?
Yes.
Everybody's talking about mindset, right? But the funny thing is, and when I had so many people, I had a coach, and I have a coach, and she was like, well, let's focus in on your mindset. And when I first started working with her, and I was like, mindset, I need to make money. Like, I don't have time for like woo-woo stuff, right? But the thing is that mindset is really not like woo. It's scientific. If your mind, if the way that you think about your business and your success, if it's tuned in and dialed in for your ultimate success of thinking of, I'm going to be successful in my business, and just trusting that and going for that as a reality, that is what has really truly made a huge difference in my business. It really has. And the other thing that I did that was really counter for me, because as humans, we all want to be secure, right? Like, we don't like insecurity and feeling like, I don't know where my next meal is going to come from. And that's why you need to have a plan, right? But we shy away from anything like that, right? We shy away from any type of insecurity. And entrepreneurship in itself is like the ultimate exercise in insecurity, right? Yeah. Like you're taking, right? Like you're taking the leap from, okay, I'm working this 9 to 5. I know on the 1st and the 15th, that person gonna put that check in my account. Don't even have to think about it. Boom, right? To having to go to entrepreneurship, where you're like, okay, I gotta like find clients, and I have to sell things, and I have to be present. I have to be visible. But once I let go of this idea of a plan B, once I let go of leaning on, well, I'll just go back to corporate, when in reality, for me and my family, going back to corporate isn't something that's feasible. It just doesn't work for me, right? And so letting go of that plan B and letting myself lean into entrepreneurship 100% and lean into my business, and trusting the process of, yes, at the beginning of any business, it's a little rough, right? But giving myself the grace and the time, right, to say, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do the things that I need in order to be a successful entrepreneur, which means being vulnerable and being visible and having that appetite for success, being focused and determined. That is what ultimately has led me to the place where I am now. So yes, accept those growing pains. They're part of the process.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You touched on a lot of great stuff there. And what I really appreciate, that I'm sure that, everyone watching it will as well, is your own personal story, right, along with those steps. So I'm a big believer in, people shouldn't be teaching anything that they haven't really experienced themselves, or show, they shouldn't be showing people how to do things. So that's great. And so, guys, if Mia did 9 to 5, and if Mia or me or anybody else can do that, you can do the same thing.
Yeah.
It goes back to mindset. It goes back to all of these things that Mia just touched on, which are so important. It sounds redundant. I know everybody talks about it's the same thing because we're saying it for a reason because it's true. It's very true. I think we've had a few guest speakers in the past 3 or 4 months that have come on Mia and said the same thing. It goes back to
Yeah.
mindset. It goes back to mindset. It goes back to mindset because it does. It really
Yeah.
does, right? So
Yeah. When my
I
coach
mean,
said
that's
that to
good.
me, and I was really like, okay, look, okay, mindset, I got it. Mindset. But then once I actually
Yeah.
started doing the work, like when you actually start doing the work, when you actually start sitting down and thinking through what are the narratives that I've been telling myself throughout my life about money, what it means to have money, what it means to be visible, when you start breaking those things down and actually doing that work, it really is transformative. Like it really does force you to face some things about yourself and the way that you think about things. And once you're able to really put in the time and put in the work to reframe it, to reframe your thoughts about it, that's when you really have the breakthrough. At least that has been my experience. It truly has. It's been transformative
Yeah.
for me. So I believe it will help other people as well.
Oh my gosh, yes. No, that's great. And for those of you, I put a comment in there. If you have questions, don't be shy, right? Some of you has to break the ice at some point. But if you want to put them in there later, that's fine. And those of you that are watching the replay, if you have questions, put them in there. Me and myself will come back in there and address any questions or comments that you have. So, you talked about your boys and your family. So I'm just curious, how do you find inspiration? So you just back in October, now you're full time with your business. So so moving forward, how are you going to find the inspiration to keep going and keep your business going?
So, well, for my first and primary inspiration are my children, for sure. And because my eldest in particular, I mean, he had a very rough start to his life. And I actually talk about a lot of our journey on my podcast, which is the Mama Build Your Empire podcast. And I created the podcast for moms who are growing businesses while raising kids with special needs. And my son inspires me. Both of them do. But my son has always inspired me every single day of my life since he's been here. And just because if you want to see a true testament to strength and grace and really coming up against the odds, my son shows me that. But then also I do a lot of just self-development and looking out to people who I aspire, Ian Van Zandt and Lisa Nichols are some of the people that I truly look up to. I listen to all of their books, and I'm a big audiobook person, and so really filling up my cup with inspirational stories and people, and listening to the words that people who I aspire to, listening to what they have to share. That also that helps me kind of stay on track and stay inspired. Because if they can do it, if anybody can do it, if what I'm going out to do has been done before, then I know I can do it. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. And one thing I'll throw in there with that, it takes somebody to really find themselves in their why to know that, right?
Yeah.
So, you can say that all day and to some other person that can be totally foreign. Like that's like a within self thing. You have to find that within yourself, right? So
yes,
that's
absolutely.
awesome. That's awesome. So what is one interesting fact about you? I know there's just this one burning thing.
So this is actually my third career. My first career, I actually went to school professionally trained to be an opera singer. And yes, super random, right? Yeah, no, I thought I was gonna be like the next Leontine Price, like up on the Met stage, and I'd gone to school. I'd gone to like a magnet high school, got a scholarship, a vocal performance scholarship to study music, went off to college, took my first like college English class and was like, what? I love literature, as you can tell from the books behind me. And I fell in love with the written word and fell in love with English. And so I then went off, long story short, I decided I was going to be in book publishing. I did that for a minute. I went up to New York, realized I did not like New York. Nothing against New Yorkers, but it was not my place. It wasn't my place. And
it's a little bit different there.
Yes, I scurried on back to Texas and kept working in a different area in marketing, and the rest is history. So yeah, that was my fun fact, is that I actually started out. Yeah.
I can't sing worth a hill of beans. I wish well, let me rephrase that. When I was younger, I could sing a little bit. Then like in 10th grade, I lost my voice all of a sudden. And then after that, I could never sing again. It was never the same. So I don't know what happened. I'm like, God, are you showing me a sign that I shouldn't be singing or what? That's funny. Maybe you could teach me some lessons. That's cool.
It's been a long time since I've sung, but yeah, it's still something I still do, but nowhere near on the level that I was.
Wow, that is a true that is like the one thing on the pole that a lot of people do not do. So that is really neat. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, it has been so much fun. I just have pretty much any last tips or tricks for the audience. So we covered a lot of information, a lot of great information. I hope it's been, I hope you guys have had some really great takeaways. If you need to go back and rewind, take notes, let us know that you're watching, put in the comments, #replay, and also ask your questions if you have any. So yeah, man, any last tips or tricks for the audience with kind of what we discussed today?
So whether it's you're trying to vet your business idea, or you are looking to you're looking to launch a new product or a new service, really focus in on the why of it. I know that since Simon Sinek, who kind of came up with the Start With Why movement, people have been talking about that, but really honing in on the why of it, because people, the emotion of any type of move, whether it's moving from your 9 to 5 or going to start a new business, that's what moves people to take action. So I see we have a question. Oh, this is exciting.
We do. I was just about to say that. I wanted to go ahead and put it up so you can read it. So is it Tamika, right? She said, is there a way to use MailChimp, to upsell products? And she said, by the way, I was a music teacher for 16 years.
All right now. So yes. And Tamika, I actually have several MailChimp trainings in my Facebook group, which is the Empire Builder Collective. And one way that you can use MailChimp to upsell products is if you want to, say, create MailChimp landing pages, there's a way to connect your store. If you are, I think it's using Square, you can create products in it. And what you'll need to do is you'll need to basically build out a funnel using MailChimp landing pages, right? And so I have a couple of strategies for that. We can get into that one-on-one. You're more than welcome to send me a message. Super happy to chat with you about that specifically. But there are a couple of ways that you can specifically sell products using MailChimp, either in their landing pages or creating a sequence and through their email marketing as well, their email service as well.
Oh my gosh, good stuff. Yes, Mia, please go and leave your contact. So when we're done here, how it works is like the video will load since we're using a third-party system. So go back to the Facebook page. That's where the video will be. And yeah, go leave your contact info on there. I just put in there your Facebook page. So Tamika said she's focusing on creating courses. So that's great stuff. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you guys definitely need to talk offline. That is awesome. I'm glad, we were able to make that connection. So, well, that's great. This has been awesome. I'm so glad that you came on today. Looking forward to collaborating with you in the near future. I'll definitely be contacting you about some of the things that you talked about. So,
absolutely.
But yeah, that's all that we have. So for next week, guys, I'm not sure if we'll have a guest. If we do, her name would be Carrie Martin. And basically she's going to talk about how we can be healthier in our journey as small entrepreneurs. So I'm excited about that. Personal journey story real quick. I started meal prepping and I got my life together this year, right? So after having kids, like a little over 2 years, I haven't worked out. haven't really put myself first, haven't really fulfilled myself as a person, as a mom, as a wife. So I told myself 2019 was going to be the year to do that. And so I've started my journey and it's been going great. I have more energy, I'm more upbeat. I just, feel just more part of life, that I have all this value. And so I encourage all of the moms out there to do the same thing. So she'll talk to us about, how we can, have a healthier lifestyle and kind of what that looks like. If she comes on, if not next week, it may be that following week. But that's all we have for now. Remember to register for the webinar, outsourcing, how outsourcing can lead to your company's success. That's coming up. And obviously, if you register and you're not able to replay, and then don't forget about the course. If you want to eliminate the headache of hiring a virtual assistant, we have that done for you guys, and all you have to do is take the course and boom, it will make your life a whole lot easier as an entrepreneur and small business owner. So we're signing off now. Thank you for spending some of your Friday with us, and again, if you're watching the replay, be sure to tag #replay in the comments. We will talk to you guys later.